Hey there, and welcome back to the Virtual Cafe for another coffee convo about business finances. I'm your host, Kerry Zarb, and I am joined by Kim White. We invite you to join us at our table with your favourite brew. Let's pull up our chairs and get into today's episode. Come on, let's go. It's coffee time.
Hello, Kim.
Hey, Kerry.
What's going on?
Did you see the coffee I got, Kerry?
I didn't. Show me.
Oh my goodness, Kerry, I have to tell you, this is like one of the best cups of coffee ever. So Lila made it. She's like the queen of all baristas.
About time she did her job. Yep. Oh, sorry. Go on.
So I'm thinking, Kerry, when I grow up, I might want to be a barista. But then I got to thinking, I didn't go to school for that, so I probably can never make that good a coffee, Kerry.
Can I just call a bit of BS there, Kim? Can I do that?
You're in charge, Kerry, but I don't know. I don't know why you're calling BS, Kerry, because I don't have a certificate that says I can be a barista, and I don't have an education that says I can be a barista.
So, Kim, let me ask you this. Do you want to make a cup of coffee that's as good as that?
Oh, I do, Kerry.
Then why can't you?
Well, because nobody told me that, what to do, and, nobody told me that I was qualified.
Well, a qualification is just a piece of paper, in my opinion, and I'm not discounting those that go out and get qualifications. They're good, don't get me wrong, but just because you don't have a qualification doesn't mean you can't do it.
So you mean I can make a good cup of coffee like this one, Kerry?
Yeah, why not?
Because I didn't think I could do that without the qualification.
Okay, so Kim, let's flip this into something else for a moment. Do you cook in your kitchen?
I do, every day, Kerry.
Are you qualified as a chef?
Ooh, I am not, Kerry.
Me neither.
My husband likes my cooking. Does that qualify me?
I think it does. There you go. You're qualified. Is that it? We're done? That was a wrap.
So, Kerry, this is a financial design thing. I am not qualified to be a financial designer.
I don't see a certificate on my wall either, Kim. Just saying.
So what does that mean, Kerry? I'm struggling with wanting to do my finances, and then I'm looking and I'm telling myself I am not qualified.
Okay, so let's go back a step, because I believe anyone can be a financial designer. And I believe that anyone can cook in their kitchen, make a cup of coffee, toast a cheese sandwich, put some chips in the air fryer, walk their dog, drive their car. Okay, so that one kind of comes with a license, fair enough. Maybe that's not the best example. But look at all the things we do in our life. Look at everything that we do. I didn't do a course to operate a vacuum cleaner. I didn't do a course how to run my washing machine for my clothes. I've not done a course for washing dishes in the kitchen. All of these things we do in life, we've learnt. Someone told me that with that machine, and maybe it was the instruction manual, maybe it was the little YouTube video that I looked before I bought the machine, that I open the lid, I press the buttons, I choose the wash cycle that I want, and I put the detergent in that little drawer thing. And every now and again, well, actually probably every time, I'm supposed to check those filters, so someone takes care of that. But you know what I mean? We learn all of these. Thanks, boss. Yep. We learn all of these things. How do you cook a cake? Did you go to cake school? I didn't go to cake school.
Did not go to cake school, Kerry.
No. We can't get certificates in all these things that we need to do in life. So therefore, I'm a believer in you don't need qualifications. Now, let me put a caveat on this, because clearly, if you're going to do high-level stuff for other people, you do need to be qualified. So I have an accountant. My accountant is qualified. Therefore, my accountant is authorised by the government and all the things to do my taxes. I don't do my taxes, my accountant does it. However, I do everything before I send that to my accountant to do my taxes. I don't need a qualification as a business owner to do that. And therefore, it's a case of, well, we can all learn. We learn everything else in life. So we can actually learn how to control our finances, how to get them to that point to give to the accountant. And if we don't know, and we're just starting out and we don't have a clue where to begin, ask the accountant, what do you need from me for you to be able to do my taxes? And the first time you turn up, you might not get it all right, and you'll learn from there.
Just for the record, Kerry, we can ask you.
Well, yeah, always.
There's that.
Yeah.
I think you bring up something really amazing, though, Kerry, and that is the fact that we can, like, I know in the last episode, we talked a little bit about tools, and I feel like that's one of the game changers, is knowing we don't have to like our numbers. We don't have to be afraid of our numbers. We don't have to disqualify ourselves. We can take our numbers and input them into a tool that gives us the things we need to give to our accountants. And we don't have to talk ourselves out of that, Kerry. That's what I'm taking away from this. Am I hearing right?
Well, and Kim, yes, you are correct. That's exactly what I'm saying. But I want to keep going because I'm liking this whole, cake school, vacuum cleaner school kind of place. That I don't have a certificate in Excel for the spreadsheets that I operate. I don't have a certificate in Word. I don't have a certificate in Canva. I don't have a certificate to operate Zoom. Like, if we sat for a moment and thought about everything we touch every single day, whether it's in our business or our personal lives, there's a million things that we don't have certificates for. And thankfully so, because I don't think any of us would have enough lifetime to get a certificate in all of those things, hence why they don't have certificates.
And even if they do, Kerry, the bottom line is we started not knowing how to operate any of those things, and we figured it out.
Oh yeah. Kim, can I share with you my little story of Excel?
Please, Kerry. Let me get my coffee ready, because I want to hear this.
Well, when I first started with Excel, someone gave me the book that was Excel for Dummies, because I had a computer, I was chatting with some people, and someone said, oh, I've got the Excel, book for dummies. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that'll help. Oh my God, it did not help a bit. I remember turning the pages and looking at this grid on my screen going, what is this? What does it mean? It was just, it was a whole nother language of nothing that meant nothing, and nothing made any sense. And even reading the book, and, Kerry confesses all the time about reading and the words, I was looking at the pictures, and some of the little kind of tips of how to get started. I just couldn't, Kim. I didn't have anything to do with it. There was no purpose. There was nothing to put in there to get something out. Therefore, I just looked at this grid time and time again going, it just means nothing. I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, Excel for Dummies, yes, I'm the dummy because I don't get it. And I struggled. I really struggled. It took my first office position. They actually used Excel, and they used it in charts, and, they had spreadsheets into charts and all these things. And one of my tasks on a daily basis was to do data entry into existing spreadsheets, and then watch the little chart move and jump and do different things. I had a purpose, and it started to make sense. But before that, looking at a spreadsheet, it was ugly. It was not pretty at all. It did not make any sense to me, Kim. Someone had to show me, and it had to have a purpose.
But Kerry, this brings up, to me, this brings up your spreadsheet you created for you, and then that you shared with all of us. And that's the simple subscriptions, because you were tired of getting surprises on your bank statement for not remembering that you had signed up to something a year ago, even sometimes. I look at that, Kerry, and I think that is a great example of you not even liking spreadsheets way back then to now you know how to even create them in such a, and I'm going to say sexy way. You have such an incredible way of doing it. We don't have to create this spreadsheet, Kerry. That's what I'm hearing you say. And I'm living proof I'm using your spreadsheet, not creating my own spreadsheet.
Well, and Kim, when I think about how we feel and the roadblocks that we face with the numbers, and this was me years ago, not just with Excel, but with numbers in general, that's sometimes where the overwhelm comes from, is because we're looking at the whole big thing. Okay, so, and lots of people hear me say, you don't need a complicated accounting platform, you can run your business finances on a spreadsheet. But immediately I can picture, and I've had this feedback as well, that people will sit there and go, but I don't know how to run a spreadsheet. I don't know what to do with that. How do I even make that? And then next minute you're on YouTube, then you're down this rabbit hole and so says this, and then they're talking about formulas and sums and calculations and pivot tables, and that's it, you're out. Like, you're just like, oh, okay, I'm done now. You are in that position where I was looking at that blank table on my computer going, well, what do I do with this? Help. And you give up, because I'm with you 100%. And in those moments, that's when we need the tools. We need the tools that someone else has already created to make it simple. And there's so many out there. It is about finding the one that works for you and the one that you can follow and the easiest one. And that's what I was looking at when I made simple subscriptions, Kim, because when I made it for myself, trust me, it was simple. It was no more complicated than it is now. It just looks prettier now because it's out for public consumption. It needed to make sense. It was a bit uglier before, but the functions were the same because I wanted the same result that others can get now.
Well, Kerry, whenever I put my numbers into that spreadsheet that you created, and then I got the answers I needed to know if I needed to, like, when I needed to pay things, all of the answers I got from that spreadsheet to me are incredible. And I don't have one more certificate. I don't have one more qualification. I don't have one more thing. But you make me look smart, Kerry, in the financial design of my own business because of that simple tool. So I want to say thank you, Kerry.
Kim, you've just reminded me, and let me say, it has been my absolute pleasure. I love building spreadsheets, and then for others to use them to simplify the struggles that they have, that's gold to me. Like, that is just a beautiful place to be. But Kim, I do want to tap into, there is the option to get a certificate for everything we do. Anyone can make a certificate for anyone. I could make certificates for simple subscriptions. I could literally turn around and someone says, I've finished simple subscriptions, I've listed all of my recurring payments, and now I've saved this amount of money and I'm done. I could put out a certificate for that. But does that really mean anything?
It would to me, Kerry. I want a certificate saying I did. I think this is a great point, Kerry. I think it doesn't change what we know if we are doing something. But I do want to say this little bit, Kerry, because of what you said at the very beginning. We don't have to do all the things all the way to the end, but we're responsible for pulling the numbers from our life, I'll call it. Like, if we can get to the place we can put our numbers into a spreadsheet where we have something to hand over to someone who is really qualified to do taxes or qualified to do bigger things, then that's a different story. But I think we disqualify ourselves from starting based on what you were describing before. So Kerry, thank you. I don't know what else to say except I'm going to sit over here and sip my coffee and remind myself how grateful I am for you.
Aw, Kim. Well, let me tell you that anyone out there tuning in, it's not about knowing it all. We don't need to know it all, because if we really did need to know it all, where would we stop, Kim? Where would we actually stop ourselves from going to the end, as you say? Because all of us would live at university. We'd all be constantly in education to get all of those qualifications. And it's the same, and we've had this conversation either here on this podcast or over on Buckets and Boom Gates, Kim, about when you're a business owner and wearing all the hats, most of the time we feel like we need to be qualified in everything, but we actually don't. We can have a base understanding of all of the things in our business, finances included, that is enough to get us by to either supply to the accountant or get that base understanding so that we can outsource to a bookkeeper so that someone else can do that for us, and it comes back to us because bookkeepers give reports. They give, profit and loss and balance sheets. If we don't know what that means, what was the purpose of them delivering that report? So I don't want anyone to freak out right now on the whole profit and loss and balance sheet thing. That comes later. But when you're getting started, just start with a simple tool, get your numbers in there, start working with an accountant, just make a start and know that you don't need to be qualified to do that.
I now have hope, Kerry, I can make a great cup of coffee and I don't need a certificate to do it.
Correct. Anyone can be a Delilah. And in case you didn't know, guys, Delilah is my coffee machine in my office. Her name is Delilah because she is a DeLonghi, and we don't always get along. There are moments in time where I've got to fill the tank, I've got to empty the grinds, and it's like, really, now, Delilah, now? But most of the time, she delivers something half decent.
Everybody needs a Delilah.
Well, Kim, thank you once again for hanging out with me in the virtual cafe.
Thank you, Kerry. I'm going to take my coffee to go, and I'll see you later.
Thanks, Kim. See you next week.
Thanks for joining us in the virtual cafe. You can follow the show to be notified of future episodes, and if you're enjoying this podcast, we encourage you to leave a rating or personal review. Until next time, happy biz beans to you. No beans were harmed during the production of this podcast. Information contained in this podcast should be taken as general advice only, and your personal circumstances have not been taken into account. It is recommended that you seek financial advice from a professional who is licensed to do so. If you choose to act upon the general advice shared, you do so